Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Friday, April 24th, 2020. We are in the final day of the trading week and the final hour of the trading day. I like to mention this each day, but in my opinion, for me, the most valid time of the day to make my buying and selling decisions is right at the end of the day, as close as I can to the close of the market. And I say this because during the day, you have the day traders, you have the algorithms. They're the ones that are in control of the controlling the prices. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in. They're dealing with the most money. They have very smart people. They have the best technology, very good information, and they come in at the end of the day and take control away from the day traders and the algorithms and move the prices to what, in my opinion, are the most valid prices of the day. So I like to piggyback on top of the large financial institutions and make my buying and selling decisions from there. So I hope everyone is doing well today. I appreciate everybody coming. I always look forward to seeing the group. I think we have a great group, great bunch of people, great insights, great comments, and I look forward to it every day. So thank you so much, and I hope that coming here and spending time here is helping you with your trading and your investing. So let's take a look. Hey, Zach is here. Hey, Zach, good to see you, my friend. Zach says hello and friends. Hello to Zach. Brian is here. Hey, Bri, good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you being here as always. So, all right. Well, interesting day today. We were lower earlier. We are up now. The Dow Jones is up 174 points. It's up about 3/4 of a point. NASDAQ is up 98.95, up 1.16%, and the S&P is up 28 points, just touch over 1%. So, all right. Hey, Scatty is here. Good to see you, Scatty. Appreciate you being here. Unrang. I apologize if I didn't pronounce that correctly, but thank you for coming by. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat here, I think. But thank you for coming by. And if you have any questions about anything I discussed today, you just please let me know. All right. So, okay. Well, listen, this is the plan for today. First of all, we're going to go ahead and run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, what the methodology I was using, and most importantly, how I'm going to manage them either to the downside or to the upside. I also had a day trade today. I'll be showing you that. And then some of you have been kind enough to share your trades with me, and I will be going through those today, and we'll take a look and see how those are doing. I'll give you a hint. Looks like everybody's doing pretty good today, so I'm definitely thankful for that. Anytime the screen is green, I am thankful for that. I really, really am. Hey, Bob is here. Bob's having a good trade for sure. We'll be going over that in a minute. MA is here. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. So listen, after I get done going through the current positions, I'm going to do a few minutes on trader psychology. Always very important part of the day, in my opinion. It's important to be able to create a plan. It's important to learn how to trade, but following that plan is a whole different world. And if you can't follow the plan, it doesn't matter how good your plan is, right? So if you want to be a profitable trader long-term, create a good plan and then follow it. So there's some good Twitter channels, Facebook channels out there that make some really good posts each day talking about trader psychology, talking about general trading words of wisdom. And I do want to talk about, spend a few minutes and talk about that. After that, I'm going to go down through my watch list and look for possible candidates for my trade at the end of the day. I have 3 requirements whenever I am looking to buy or enter a new position. Requirement number 1, want to make sure that I have a good confluence or combination of indicators lining up. And I look at indicators as potential groups of buyers, and you will put yourself in the best position possible to have a profitable trade. Not that you're going to have a profitable trade, but it will increase your chances dramatically if you're in the company with as many other buyers as possible. So I want to look for a combination or confluence of indicators, or in other words, a combination or confluence of buyers. Secondly, I want to make sure I have a good risk to reward ratio. It's very important. It's extremely important part of trading to make sure that you can make more money to the upside if you're right compared to losing less money to the downside if you're wrong. You can have a good confluence of indicators lining up, but depending on what you're using as far as RSI or ATR channels, it may preclude you or preclude me from taking a trade. It could be a good setup, but my analysis after looking at the trade may be that the risk reward is not acceptable. And then number 3, make sure you do not have too many correlated positions. Have some diversification in the type of stocks that you buy so that you don't have a huge day up or a huge day down if you're in the same industry. And then make sure, for me, I always look at account heat. And what I mean by account heat is how much of my capital do I have at risk at any one time? And for me, my maximum is 60%. Doesn't mean I have to have 60% at risk, but that is my maximum. So those are the requirements. On first run through down the watch list, if something looks good or looks decent, I'll check it off. And then at the end of the day, before the market closes, I'll go through those potential candidates with a fine-tooth comb and see if I can narrow it down to the best trade of the day. So, and then after the market closes, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to take a look at, please put them in the chat. I'm happy to do that after the market closes. If there are any particular stock symbols that you'd like my opinion on before the market closes, please put a star by it so I know it's time sensitive, and I will do my very best to get to it before the close of the day. All right, so that's the plan for today. So if you could be so kind, hold tight. I'm going to run that U.S. legal disclaimer, and I will be back shortly. Thank you. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, MA is here. Let's look at VIX real quick. VIX is, I was considering taking this yesterday, but my rules overrode it. I didn't have enough washout. Good thing I didn't take it. Sometimes your rules really work out. Sometimes they don't. Now that this failed, I would be looking for another V1 or V2. Ideally, if Monday went down below the -1 ATR channel, rallied back up, that would be interesting. But right now, I don't see anything on that. Beyond Meat, interesting. If I was long this stock and I was still in it, I would definitely get some thoughts to exiting this position now that it rejected the downward sloping 200-day moving average. But I don't see any trade here. I need it to come back into the value zone to give me some kind of decent risk reward. So I don't see a good risk reward on that at the moment. Same with Shopify. Very strong today, up 3.5%, but way extended over the third ATR channel. Very strong if you can get above the third ATR channel, no doubt about that. But the way I trade, I like to trade in the value zone and sell when it gets overvalued. I consider anything up here overvalued. Doesn't mean it can't go further. It sure has and sure has. But over time, I've just found that buying in the value zone, selling above the value zone is the best approach for me. Okay. Miko, hey, good to see you, my friend. We had a great lesson last night, and really impressed with Miko 25. I think you did great, and thank you so much for coming. Contrarian, hey, Greg, you mentioned the big boys buy at the end of the day. Is that still the case, and how could one tell volume? Yeah, Contrarian, the volume comes in at the end of the day, in the last hour, particularly in the last few minutes. But that's generally when the large financial institutions come in. And like I said earlier, they take control away from the day traders. That's why you see such movement at the end of the day and with such volume, because the large financial institutions are buying and selling in size. Marco, hey, good to see you, Marco. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Steve Burns, good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. It's always an honor, always a privilege to have you here, to be able to rub shoulders and chat with Steve in the traders chat. It's just a great thing. And Steve having some great trades today. And thank you, and we'll go over those in a minute. And thank you, Steve, for including me on your Friday list of traders to follow today on Twitter. I appreciate that. Trader by Instincts. Hey, how you doing? Appreciate you coming by. It's the first time I've seen you. Trader says, they always say rookies open, pros close. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, you have a lot of day traders, amateurs at the morning, and pros close at the end of the day. That's a great way to say it. Frank says, hello, Greg and group. A quarantine salute. Hey, salute back to Frank. Good to see you. Hey, Kamal. Nice to have you, my friend. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for coming. Miko says, thanks, Greg. I have a great mentor. Oh, thank you. Well, I had a wonderful student. Really, I sincerely mean that. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, well, I guess we'll get to it. Go through the current trades. So I did buy Adobe back here on the April 17th. I bought it when the 10 EMA crossed over the 50 EMA. Good long-tested or long-term profitable back-tested approach to trading Adobe. Every trade doesn't win, but the nice thing with moving average crossovers is that it gives you a structure to the trade. It gives you a structure to get out quickly if you're wrong, and you have potential for a big up move if you're right. And that's what trading is about, taking a bunch of little small losses and having a few really big gains. And that's why I like trading moving average crossovers. I bought it here 344.17, immediately reversed on me. My stop was if the price closed below both the 10 and the 50 for half of my position. It held the 50 EMA, which is one of the crossovers that I did use. So it did keep me in the trade, moved up nicely. Since then, up today nicely, about 1.5%, getting close to one of my profit targets here. So still down on the trade, but have recovered a lot of that loss. So I'm thankful for that. Apple. I don't have any directional stock positions on Apple, but I did buy Apple calls back down here in the week of 3/27. I bought June 18th, 2021 long-term calls at 250. Right now we're at 281, so those calls are in the money, both intrinsically and monetarily. And so having a really good trade on the Apple long-term Apple contracts. My plan for this trade is if we reject the one ATR channel up here, about $307, that would be my signal to go ahead and lock in profits on those calls. If we come back down here, close below halfway of the washout bar, the weekly washout bar, then I would go ahead and just have to take a loss there. But anyway, so far so good on Apple. All right, world famous SPY tray. I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take that overnight risk and I sell it first thing the next morning. In case we have some new viewers today, I want to kind of explain in detail why I do that. It has nothing to do with support or resistance levels. It has everything to do with just a long-term back-tested statistics from this test. And this is from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest. The test began in 1993. Two options. Option number one, buy the SPY at the open, hold through the day, sell at the close. If you did this approach every day since 1993, you'd have lost 13.9% return for all your troubles. If you did the opposite approach, which is what I do, buy the SPY at the close each day, hold overnight, take the overnight risk, sell first thing the next morning, you would have gained 634.2% return. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. That is true for any trading approach, but if I'm going to allocate money towards something, I'm going to allocate towards something that has good back-tested results and a good back-test history. The blue line is the buy in the afternoon, sell the next morning. The orange line is the buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon. You can see there's a clear difference over time. It's had a wonderful equity curve. There are ups and downs. There are drawdowns as with any trading approach, there are drawdowns, right? But they can be significant. And 2019 was a very profitable year. 2020 has not been a profitable year, although it's been much better in the last month. So I do take a conservative position size when I buy this. Maximum 10% of my equity I will use on this approach. But I like to have different trading approaches, some shorter term, some longer term. Shorter term, of course, the SPY is very short term. The buy in the afternoon, sell in the morning is very short term. It's basically an overnight trade. And then longer term trades like the crossover trades. So I like to have diversity in the time lengths that I hold trades to kind of even things out. So I did buy the SPY yesterday at the close, 279.08, and I sold it this morning for 280.60 for a nice little overnight trade. And recently had some really good gains, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here. And then of course sometimes it goes against you, buy here, sell here, right? And this was a big hit too, but the last 1, 2, 3 days have been positive. So this is a long-term approach for me. Keep doing this. I'm buying the SPY at the close, hold overnight, take that risk, and sell first thing the next morning. All right, so those are my 3 positions. I did have one day trade today that I want to share with you on Carnival Cruise Lines. My students, and also you should know because I talk about this, but I was looking for a higher low V1 or V2. Here, this is 5 minutes. We closed below the -1 ATR channel. We came back up into the value zone. We sold off a little bit. This was my entry here when we had this V2. Here's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 2, washed out day 1. Bought it right here. And I got out here. So I bought at 11.75. I got out at 11.84. 9 cents, not too much, 9 cents, but on a $11 stock, 11.91 now. But $11 stock percentage wise, it's pretty good. So I got out when it rejected the 50. That's my plan. Of course, it could have gone down, could have gone up, continued to go up. Obviously, wish I would have held it, but I'm still happy with that trade that took 15 minutes and it wasn't like a 0.75% gain. So anyway, that is it for my trades. Let me get rid of these because I know that somebody took this on a different signal, and we'll go over that in a minute. Frank says, I took a day trade in INO at 12.12, out at 12.90, back to cash. Oh, perfect. I don't even know what INO is. Oh, pharmaceutical company. Fantastic. Congratulations, Frank. Okay, let's take a look at current positions for you guys and gals. Bing He did buy TLT back here at 168.80 and is nicely in the money at 170.54. So congratulations. All right. Steve Burns, big day today for Steve Burns. Steve Burns did buy the QLD back on 4/22/20 when we had a 10.50 crossover. Bought it here at 109.38, and right now it is at 111. So fantastic trade. It was down earlier, had a big reversal today. So congratulations, Steve. Nice trade here. You're up 2.5% today. Fantastic. Nike, same approach for Steve Burns at Nike. Bought it on the 22nd at 88.20. Had the 10.50 crossover. That was the trigger for the entry. Stop would be a 10 crossing back below the 50. If it goes upwards, his profit target would be the 70 RSI, most likely. I don't want to speak for Steve, but that was my understanding. So bought it here 88.20, and now it's at 88.73. So not too bad, not too bad. Facebook, wow, Facebook was a surprise. I saw this earlier and it was negative, and then they came out with some news that they were going to offer free conferencing, kind of like Zoom, but for free, up to 50 people. And man, did Facebook take off on that. And man, did Zoom really go down. So Steve bought it here yesterday at 185.20. You can see with the 1050 SMA crossover. This is the SMA crossover. And bought it at 185.20. Today it is 189.36, up 2.28%, getting close to that 200-day moving average. So really nice trade. If we look at this intraday, look at this. I was looking at this earlier and I was like, yeah, boy, it's kind of trailing the market. It's not doing much. And then the news came out here of the video conferencing and just kapow, right? Let's look at their competitor, Zoom. Look what happened to Zoom. Boom. So the market gets on that news really quick and it just sold off and then just went down. And now it's kind of starting to hold. But if you look at this on the daily chart, my gosh, look at this. This was up. I mean, that has to hurt their business, right? I mean, Facebook's offering it free. It was up 7% today. And now it is down 5%. That's a huge swing. That's a 12% swing. And V1 to the downside, over 70, under 70. Also lost the support of the previous high. So anyway, yeah, that's a big hit today to Zoom. And then lastly, we have Bob. Bob had a fantastic trade. I liked this trade yesterday because the 520 did the crossover here. He didn't buy it on the crossover. He waited for a little bit of a pullback while the 520 was still in play and up almost 3% today. Fantastic, fantastic, Bob. I'm proud of you. I am proud of you. MA Vape. Yes, it's true. Jesse, what's going on, my friend? Always good to see Jesse here. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're staying safe out there. All right, so that's the trades. It looks like everything is up today. Jerry did buy Carnival yesterday at 12.18, so it was down much more earlier. So he's only down about 10 cents now. So anyway, Jerry, if you're still in that trade, just make sure you have a good trade plan for that. Make sure you have your levels where you're wrong and your levels where you are right, what you're going to do with it. All right. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Trader by Instinct says, yep, I was long Zoom 180 calls and got crushed. I'm sorry to hear that, Trader. Trader by Instinct. Yeah, it's always frustrating. It's always great when things go up, but when they go down, especially if it's over a certain amount of time, if you have an extended drawdown, it's challenging. It is challenging. It really is. Zach says, I took DIN at 30.59 and still holding. Oh, and hello, everyone. Oh, let's take a look. Dine Equity. 30.59. Ooh. And now it's at 31.15. Having a nice little V1 here today as well. Back in the value zone V1 so far. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Hey, by the way, I was speaking with one of my students last night, Miko25, and he said, Greg, whenever I hear your trade notifications go off, it's after the market closes. How's that possible? That's because there is a delay on YouTube. There's like a 5 or 7 second delay. So I'm making those orders before you hear them. So obviously I can't make the orders after the market closes. Well, I guess I could and after hours, but I couldn't do that. So if that's tripped anybody up, you're like, why is Greg's orders going off after the market closes? It's because they're not. I'm buying it before the market closes, but there's a delay by the time I speak and by the time you hear me. All right. Looking at Adobe here. Speaking of, Get on up there to 342.05. One more dollar. You can do it. Let me hit that profit target. Okay. All right. So listen, before we go down through the watch list, before I look for potential candidates for my end of day trade today, I always do like to spend a little bit of time on trader psychology, just general good trading words of wisdom. Like I mentioned before, there are a lot of great Twitter channels, Facebook channels out there that talk about these kind of things, post these sayings. And, there's a lot of wisdom and value in these sayings if you just read them, but not just read them, but read them and internalize them. So that's why I like to pick something every day and do a few minutes on it. But this is from my good friend, our good friend, Steve Burns. This is over on Facebook, the New Traders, Rich Traders platform or channel over on Facebook. It's really good. It's a serious page on Facebook, and this is Steve's post. So let's see what Steve says. When you look too hard for a trade setup that really isn't there, right? And it's really true. And I was actually discussing this with Miko last night, my student. And when I studied one-on-one with Dr. Alexander Elder, what he really tried to convey to me was, Greg, when you're going through and you're looking for a setup, the setup should really jump off the screen at you. It should really just hit you and go, wow, that's a good setup. Compared to, the words he used was, don't try to get a ruler out and a protractor and try to make something into a trade setup that's really not into a trade setup. So, when Steve posted this, I thought, boy, these pictures really bring it home. You don't have to look this closely, although it's pretty impressive. I've never seen anybody in golf do that, but these are professionals, I suppose. But make sure when you look at when you see a trade setup that it does jump off the page at you, that it really makes sense. You don't have to sit there and look at it 19 different ways and try to make a trade out of something that's not there. And another thing I might mention here is make sure it's a clean trade. And what do I mean by a clean trade? I mean, make sure that it jumps off the page. Make sure that you have valid support levels below you, clean, valid support levels below you. Make sure you have clean, valid resistance levels above you. Just look for a clean chart. Make sure things are lining up. Make sure your stop price is lining up with something valid to the downside. Make sure your ultimate profit target is lining up with something valid on the upside, but just look for a clean chart, and you don't have to sit in front of your computer and did this. I tried to do this earlier and I think I pulled a muscle. But anyway, when you look too hard for a trade setup that really isn't there, just make sure it's there. Don't try to make something in just because you want to buy something. Don't relax your standards and go, oh, well, I think this looks okay. Just make sure it's a good setup and that it's clean and it jumps off the screen at you. Kamal says, it's close to a 15-30 second delay. Oh, is it? Thank you, Kamal. Well, that makes sense. I think I read somewhere that it was 5 or 7 seconds, Kamal. That's why I mentioned that. I think I read that on YouTube somewhere, but if Kamal's timed it, he's timed it. Moses Gomez, how you doing? How do you guys feel of Gush long term? Is that a symbol? That's a 3-time oil and gas. Well, doing pretty well today, 3 times. I just am not going to buy up in this range here. This is above the 3rd ATR channel. I would much rather pull back into the value. As far as how do I feel about oil and gas in the long term? I have my opinions. I imagine that there will be some demand coming back in the market, but I'll tell you what, when I trade my opinions, I don't do as well as when I just trade price action. I just wait for a setup and take it, regardless of what the news is, regardless of what my own opinions are. But I really couldn't say on Gush, and I really couldn't say on oil and gas. Like I said, I think in the long run, they're going to come back. But who knows? It might be priced in already, but certainly I would not buy here at this level. I would wait for a pullback. Are there any rules for breaking rules? Yeah. I guess I would be lying if I said that there weren't, but I'm trying to set a good example and just follow your rules. I mean, the more I follow the rules, the better I do. If some things going up, news is positive, why no breaks and why not no break and ride the trend? Again, I just have to go back to my rules. You know, I'm a rule-based trader, and I'm very leery of news. I'm not saying it can't be profitable. Some people do it, some people do it well, but I just like to have the rules and sit by them. I mean, it's worked for me well over the time. Hey, Frank has a poem for us. Let's see what it says. No butcher, baker, or barber can work with a dull blade. If you want to trade, hone your skills. A sharp edge really does help pay the bills. Oh, nice. Thank you, Frank. Let me give that one more shot. No butcher, baker, or barber can work with a dull blade. If you want to trade, hone your skills. A sharp edge really does help pay the bills. That's excellent. Excellent, Frank. Thank you, sir. All right. Casper. Well, it's above the 1 ATR channel here, MA. Again, I would wait for a pullback into the value zone in between the two green lines before I would buy. You know, I like to buy in the value zone or under the value zone. So when anything's up over here, doesn't mean it can't go up. Oftentimes it does. But I found over the long term, statistically, it will come back. Jawwood, hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming. Boeing. Yeah, I've had my eye on Boeing. There's a potential that we could have a nice higher low V2 coming next Monday. Here's day one, day two washes out day one. I would need day three, which would be Monday, to close above. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I would buy that at that point if it did. But right now, I don't see anything, to be honest with you. All right, give me half a second here. Take a quick look. Oh, good. I did hit my profit target on Adobe. I had my sound turned off there. Let me turn that back on. All right. Good. Did get that profit target. Good, good, good. Apple doing really well with the call. SPY, going to buy that again at the close. And that is all I have. So I have Apple, Adobe, and SPY at the moment. Or Apple and Adobe will be buying SPY again. All right, let me check and see how Zoom is doing. Oof, man. All right. Well, I'm going to go down through the watch list, take a look, see if anything looks decent for today. Moses has bought BP at 21.64, sold at 23.44 today. Oh, fantastic. Very nice. Always good to have a good trade. Let me look at the right. Excellent. Excellent, Moses. TVIX. Nothing here. It did not trigger yesterday, that higher low V1. Wow, down 11% today. Yeah, I don't see anything here. Hey, Bing He is here. Good to see you, Bing He. Hope you're having a good day in Singapore, my friend. All right. Let me switch over here. All right, let's go down through the chart, see what's happening. Apple, don't see anything here. This is a good sign though. Here we have 2 days ago, we have a high. Yesterday, we went much higher and then reversed, which is a bearish bar. That's what painted this orange triangle. Today, we went above that high. This is called a fake out bar, and that's why you see the orange or the green triangle here. This is also possibly triggering another bullish signal here. See how we opened here? We went way up and closed all the way back down. This is called a bearish kangaroo tail. If you can get above a bearish kangaroo tail, that is very positive because you went up, went down, but still have the strength to go back up. So, you know, Apple could be on its way up here to the 100-day or possibly testing these previous highs. You never know, but it looks pretty promising, but no trade for me on Apple. Okay, Adobe did hit the 1 profit target today, so that is fantastic. Amazon not doing much on a big day. Probably just waiting for earnings. It's you know, had that big move up, but now it's just been range bound. For me to be interested in Amazon, need it to pull back to value. Looks like it could never possibly even get back here, doesn't it? But it can, and it will. And that's where I want to buy, is in that zone. Boeing, yep, down today, setting up for a possible V2 on Monday. Let's look at the weekly on Boeing. Yeah, we still have that third ATR channel above us. We're rejecting the 5-week moving average. So Boeing either needs to go lower for me to be interested, or it needs to go higher. One of the two. But right now it's kind of in purgatory. Berkshire Hathaway, we were above the value zone, in the value zone. We are moving sidewards here. Take a look here. What's that close? 186.58. Not up much today, so I'm going to let that one go. Beyond Meat, look at that. We talked about that earlier. What a fantastic, man, had that 520 crossover right there. What a ride that's been. Had I taken that trade, I definitely would be getting out here today with the rejection of the 200-day. But going forward, need to pull back into value. Caterpillar, I don't see anything here on CAT. Carnival, we talked about. Jerry took that trade yesterday. I do like the V2 here. The reason I decided to pass on it was because the day 2 bar did not wash out the day 1 bar enough. The importance of that is that it goes down, really tests stops, really tests and rejects it and comes back up. That's the key with V1s and V2s. So anyway, nothing on that from me. Dow Jones having a good day. Does have that downward sloping 50-day moving average above. That's a little concerning. Walt Disney was, you know, I kind of like Walt Disney here. We were above the value zone. We came into the value zone. We had 2 days sidewards, and now we have a V2. So that is a possibility for the day. Etsy, monster run. Facebook, what a reversal of fortunes on this trade today. We're up at the third ATR channel. I'm not going to be taking any trades up at this level and having the 100, 200-day above me here. But boy, what a reversal on this V1, you can see. Gold down a bit today. I would wait for the 5 EMA to cross back under the 20 and then back over. That would be my trade plan there. Google Having issues with this 200-day moving average here. That thing needs to break above the 200 in a big, strong way. So nothing there. I did take Google back here when I had the 520 crossover. Sold half of my position here when it rejected the 200. Sold another half here. Went down, back up, but it's generally in the same area. Goldman Sachs has a decent little V1 here today, but it's above the 1 ATR channel. On return to values, I want it to trigger inside the value zone, and I wanted to trigger below the 1 ATR channel, and it is above, so I'm going to pass on that. Home Depot, wow, what a huge day up there today, huh? Too extended. IBB is up nicely today. I would look for a pullback into the value zone. Intel, well, it had earnings yesterday that disappointed the market for sure. Did go positive today here. Is a V1, but it's kind of a weird V1. We made a lower high. We didn't quite wash out this low. Whenever I make a lower high, I need to wash out the previous low in order to get the signal. So I'm going to pass on Intel. IWM, strong day today. Nothing there. J&J has been on a tear. It's kind of having some issues with the third ATR channel up here. So need a pullback to get interested. CarMax, whoa, up 7%. That's amazing. Right up to the 50-day moving average and third ATR channel. Probably a lot of resistance up there. Coca-Cola, I have been looking for Coca-Cola here to buy a return to value. Here we're above the 1 ATR channel. We come back into the value zone. We've had a couple days of sideways motion. This could be a potential here. Let's see, what's the close? The close is 45.68. So this is also a potential for me today. Lockheed Martin, been playing around that 200-day moving average, so nothing there. MasterCard having a nice day today. Don't see anything there. Hold on, give me a second, let me check something. This is the weekly, still under the 1 ATR channel. MasterCard's not too bad either. How am I doing on time? Okay, McDonald's. No. Merck. No. Microsoft. Nice day today, but I need to pull back into value. Netflix. Down a bit today, interestingly, but I'd like to see it come back into the value zone. Nike. Nope. Philip Morris has a V2 here today, but no washout. PayPal, very, very strong. But I would need a pullback. The Qs. Qs have been bouncing up and down a lot around here. So nice day today, but still kind of range bound. Silver, nothing on silver. S&P, gonna buy that at the close. Teladoc, looks like it rejected the 70 RSI and the third ATR channel. So had I been in this trade, this is where I would be looking to exit. Bonds, up a penny for being he. Tesla, just kind of moving sideways. Look for a pullback into the value zone. Twitter, Bob's having a really nice day on Twitter, up 3.34%. Congratulations, Bob. United Airlines. You know, this is looking somewhat interesting as well. higher low V1 possibly happening here. So I do have a potential. I do have some potentials here today. Close 25.72. Natural gas back in the value zone. That's where I want it, but now I need a V1 or V2. UNH, too high. Oil, down. VIX, down. Verizon, it's a decent little V1 here, but it's a lower high V1. Didn't wash that out. Walgreens, no. Walmart, looking for a pullback into value. Energy, nothing there. Financials, I liked oh no, wrong. So above, see, we came into the value zone, we rallied, we made a lower high, but we have not washed out this low. So I'm going to pass on that. Real estate, utilities, healthcare too high, and Zoom. All right, well now let me look at my potentials here and go through these with the fine-tooth comb and see which one I like the best. All right, let's look at this a little closer. Disney was above the, came into the value zone, made a lower high, but we did wash out the low. Moving sidewards, did not quite trigger the V1 yesterday. Today, it looks like it is going to. Let's look at the weekly. Again, the weekly still under the 180R channel. Like it better if it was above 50. So let me just quickly do some numbers here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my maximum loss that I'm going to allow on any one trade. I am dividing the 2 ATR reading in here, and that will show me how many shares I can buy. Coca-Cola came into the value zone. 2 days of sideways motion, nice washout. Coca-Cola does look pretty good too. So let me do my numbers on Coke. Okay. MasterCard. Yeah, I do kind of like MasterCard as well. We have a higher low here. We have a higher low. We also have the green triangle, which means we had the high. We went up higher yesterday. We reversed back down, took out that first. That's good. In addition, we do have a V1. In addition, we do have a crossover. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly has a support of the 100, has the resistance up there. But so far, I kind of like MasterCard the best. And United Continental. We have a higher low V1 that rejected the -1 ATR channel. So let's see, the close there is 25.72. That one is right on the button. Okay, so I've got my 4 potentials. Disney, and I know how many shares I'm going to buy based upon volatility. Coca-Cola looks like it's out of the race at the moment. MasterCard, I do like being over 50. I do like we're above the moving averages, and I do like the V1 and the crossover. Let me just make sure we do have that crossover. It looks like it. Yeah, we do. And United Continental. Again, we were below the 1 ATR channel. We rallied into the value zone. We've come back down, 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 down. Today, we did reject the negative 1 ATR channel. Looks like this trade is untriggering at the moment. 25.72 is where it would have to close above. So let me take one more look down through there. Disney's, Coca-Cola's untriggering. MasterCard still looks fine. United Continental. So unless United Continental can reverse back up here, it looks like MasterCard, to me, would be the clear winner today. Frank says, pardon the irony, but Netflix worth watching. That's good. Well, listen, it's better than buying up here, right? I mean, it looks like it's still holding support of the 10, still holding support of the 1 ATR channel, but I'd like to see it get back into the value zone. You know, my rules are pretty picky, and, you know, sometimes it costs me, and I'll get into a trade. I won't get into a trade that will do really well, but it works the other way too. Sometimes because of my picky choices, I'll avoid losses. So, you know, it works out in the end. Just come up with your rules, and whatever feels good to you. Just make sure you have a good risk to reward ratio and you know what you're doing. I mean, you know, you could buy Netflix here and say, okay, I'm going to stay in this as long as it's above the 10-day. Makes sense. But just statistically, when you get up here to the third ATR channel, this is where things tend to stall. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to buy up here. But sometimes it just keeps going. Steve Burns says, great poem, Frank. He always has great poems, huh, Steve? Being he. MA earnings on 429, on UAL on 3.4. Yeah. Yeah, well, I would definitely get out of those before earnings. That's for sure, Bing He. You know, I never hold through earnings. Walt Disney's really not participating in this rally much today, is it? Here's the close, 199 on day one. MACD is positive. We're under 50 RSI, which I would much rather have it be above. Coca-Cola does not look like the V2 is going to happen today. MasterCard looks the best, everything considered. Into the value zone. I like this higher low V1. I like I like the crossover. I like the reversal bar yesterday that now today it went back up. And UAL still could get there. Okay, so if I did take this trade today, just I want to show you $6.8, $6.82 to the downside would be my emergency stop. Oh boy, 6.82. So it gives me a lot of room, position sizes me conservatively so that if I am wrong, I only lose the amount I'm willing to risk. So the stop would be way down here for the positions, for position sizing sake. I do like the rejection of the -1 ATR channel, but again, the close was 25.72. It's at 25.54, so it would have to trigger in order for me to get interested. Coca-Cola is losing it. $26.62 would be my maximum loss way down here. That's my emergency stop, not my end of day stop. If I took this today, my end of day stop would be basically close below the 10 and the 5 and the 20. So try to keep that loss small if I'm wrong. All right. So more than likely today, it's just going to be MasterCard. So we have 3 minutes. Frank says, I wish the market had a few rules it would honor. Isn't that true? Hey, Quad Racer. Good to see you, buddy. I got your email and responded to it. Looking forward to working with you. All right, so we have close to a couple minutes. UAL is not there yet for the trigger. Coca-Cola untriggered. Just the fact that MasterCard is over the 50 here while Walt Disney is under the 50. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and buy MasterCard here. Okay. And then I'm going to set up UAL to see if it will trigger at the end of the day. Okay, we have 1 minute. Has to close above 25.72. So if it does, I will buy it to the best of my ability, because this would be a close one. But right now, not there. 25.72. Doesn't look like it's going to get there. And I will be buying SPY at the close also. Okay. So that is that. Let's see, what did I got filled on? Okay, I got SPY at 282.97, and I got MasterCard at 258.14. Well, hey, that was a good trade so far on Master. So I got in at 258.14. $258.14. That's 258.74. So that's a good start. Tell you what, some of the best trades are the ones where you buy and they go immediately in your favor. And then SPY, I rebought SPY here at 282.97. Oops, 282.97. Okay. So, good day today, positive day on the trades here, all of them. So I'm happy for that. Just a real quick Adobe, hit the one profit target here using the 1050 EMA as the signal. So almost got me out down here, but the signal said not to, and it went nicely my way. So I'm appreciative of that. Apple, of course, have the Apple calls that I bought down here. Those are doing well. SPY, the new entry overnight SPY at 289.97, and MasterCard here. And again, my trade plan on MasterCard is a close below halfway the washout bar. This was the washout bar. Today washed out yesterday's low, reversed backed up, close above yesterday's close, closing above the moving averages. MACD's positive, closed above the 50 RSI. So those are all the kind of things I'm looking for. It doesn't mean it has to be a positive trade in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, so far, so good. So listen, if I'm going to go down through the rest of the comments. If you have any questions, please let me know. But before I do, just quickly want to put in my daily plug. I appreciate you listening to it every day, but I do want to let everybody know that I do private lessons. I have a course in the evening time via Skype. It's live. It's just you and I. It's one-on-one. It consists of 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. And I teach you everything that I've learned over the last 24 years as a full-time trader. I teach you everything I've learned from my traders and mentors over the years, like Stephen Burns and Dr. Alexander Elder and Kerry Lavorne and Larry Williams. Really great traders. They use different approaches, but they're all good approaches. And what I teach you is basically just a combination of all those approaches. I've had really good success with my clients. I really do like to teach, and I really enjoy when I see my students kind of grasping and putting it together. The course is $1,000, but I do think it's worth every penny. I really do, for what you're going to get out of it and the time that this course is, and the one-on-one attention that you're going to get. I think learning one-on-one is the best way to learn, whether it's guitar or trading. So if you're interested in taking a look at this course, what I like to do with potential new students, what I like to have is I like to have a Skype call with them first so that they can ask me questions, any questions they want about the course. They can ask anything about me. And then I like to ask them questions, how they got into trading, what their challenges have been, how they're doing, what their goals are. And then, I'll put together a lesson plan with all that in mind. And hopefully when you're done with the course, you're going to be a much better trader. I mean, I know you're going to be a much better trader. There's no doubt. So if you'd like to schedule a Skype call with me, it's totally free. There's no obligation. There's no pressure to take the course. I promise you that. I hate when people do that to me. But reach out to me and we'll schedule it. And it'll be fun to put a face with your name. And my email is in the description of this video, so you can just send me an email, or you can go over on Twitter at Gossett Trading on Twitter, and just send me a message there, and then we'll line up the Skype call. Excuse me, losing my voice. I've been teaching every night, so my voice is getting a little weak. So so if you're interested, reach out to me. We'll have the Skype call. It'll be fun. And, if you feel like it's a good fit, if you feel like a good for me, then we can go ahead and schedule the lessons. And then if you like today's podcast, I really would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It helps the channel grow. There's a lot of people out there that need help with trading and could learn some good trading principles. And I think if we could get them here, it would help them. So please help me to do that by hitting the thumbs up button. Okay, so that is that. And Quad Racer and I had a nice Skype call the other night, and it looks like Quad Racer and I are going to be doing lessons. So I'm looking forward to that. Quad, just get back to me on which day next week that you would like to start it, and what time, and we will get it ready. Jesse says, at Frank, it seems to consistently honor Murphy's Law. Binky, I am waiting to short GDX. Hopefully Monday we'll have an entry signal. So that's gold, right? Mm-hmm. What's your signal on that, Bingy? Jerry, good to see you, Jerry. Hello, everyone. Staying in CCL. Yeah, CCL, you know, it did trigger a V2 yesterday with a nice sideways motion. The reason I didn't take it was because it didn't wash out the bar enough. The day 2 bar didn't wash out, but it is holding the halfway. So that seems good. That seems legit. Frank says, so true about a good trade seems to start at the buy. It's true. You know, a lot of people have mentioned that, and that's been in their observations. If you buy something immediately goes your way, it's a good sign. Brian says, well off to cutting the grass. All right, Brian, have a good time, buddy. Be careful, huh? Brian says, have a great rest of your week, Greg and everyone. You too, Brian. Thank you so much for coming by. Trader by Instinct says, you buy the stock on SPY or calls? I just buy the stock. I just buy the stock. Quad, thanks, Greg. We'll email you back in a bit. Just super busy with work this afternoon. No problem. No problem. I'm looking forward to that. Steve says, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Good way to end the week. Absolutely. And, you know, Steve has a new book out. I asked him in the message over on Twitter. Steve has a new book out on Amazon called The Working Dead. It is his personal finance book on financial freedom, paperback edition, coming soon, and it will be on Audible in May. Oh, good. That's how I like to listen to books, is on Audible. But it's called The Working Dead. Here, let me put this in here in case anyone is interested. Any book from Steve is worth reading. I can promise you that. There we go. He says, rising wedge, reject third ATR channel using EMA, reject 70 yesterday. Looks like it might have rejected the 70 today as well. Let's take a look. Nope, not quite today, but yesterday it definitely did. Third ATR rejection. On mine it's still above, but you know, people sometimes have different charts. Definitely is getting a little extended. Let's look at the weekly. Did break above this high here. Well, just make sure you have a plan for it, Bing-Hee. Just make sure if you're right, you can make potentially more to the downside that you can lose to the upside. Bing-Hee, what is your stop to the upside, by the way? Oh, that's right. He's using EMA. That's right. That's why our ATR channels look different. Frank says it's a good way to end the week, everyone. Yes, it is. Congratulations on all the good trades everybody had. All right, let's take that off. GM says next 2 weeks will be wild. This market always seems to be wild, but yeah, with a lot of earnings. Thanks for that, GM. Steve Burns says, thanks, Greg, for letting everyone know it is available on Kindle and in paperback on Amazon worldwide. Well, I am definitely going to get it, especially when it's on Audible. Miko says, thanks, Greg. Have a good weekend, everyone. You too. Appreciate that. He says, SL above, stop loss above yesterday's high. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. GM says Monday at 3 highs, I'll be adding SPY short. When you say 3 highs, I'm not quite sure what you mean. After 3 highs in a row, probably. Zach says, Greg, do you have a minute to show me Fibonacci levels and what they mean? I have never seen people reference, I have seen people reference them a lot and never understood. Yeah. So, you know, there are a lot of Fibonacci numbers that people use, Zach. I primarily like to concentrate on the 50 RSI, and Fibonacci numbers are just ratios that happen in nature. But in a nutshell, what people do is they will, you know, this is the monthly SPY, right? They will take the high of a move and the low of the move. So let me get my little Fibonacci out here. So there's the high. There is the low. So if you have a big down move, it won't be surprising for the market to rally back up, but a lot of times it will fail at the 50% move. See, this is the 50% move. I mean, I can just eyeball and go, here's the high, here's the low, where's about the 50%? But, you know, using this tool, it shows you exactly where it is. And a lot of times it will fail at the 50% level. So if we have a top and we have a bottom and we rally back up to the 50, I'd probably look for a short. Conversely, if we have a, let me see if I can find a better, see if I can find another example. So here's the high, here's the low. 50% is about right here. From a Fibonacci negative retracement, we should find some resistance there. Now, if we have a that's if we have a big down move. And right now, we're right at about 50%. If we have a really big up move, let me see if I can find a big up move. Okay, so now I'm expanding areas. Here's a low, a longer, that, you know, we're looking at a larger time frame here, but from this low to this high, oops, sorry, time frames here. From this, see how we went from this low to this high? Well, I wouldn't be surprised on this uptrend if we have a pullback to the 50% retracement here. So if you go from up to down and then you go back up, you're going to find you generally resistance at 50%. If you go up, it's normal to come back down and you'll finally find some bullish support at the 50-day. And that works whether or not you're talking about a 100-day move or if you're talking about one-day move. Let's just pretend it's a one-day move. Okay, well, here's a big bar down. And so since we've come down from the high to the low, most likely it wouldn't be surprising that we will find resistance at the 50% move from the high to the low. So we go high, low, we retrace back up to 50% of this move, and most likely we'll find some resistance. Conversely, trying to find a big up move bar. Oh, I know where one is. Here's a big up move. So if you go from the low to the high, Zach, I wouldn't be surprised that it would pull back to 50% to find support. Does that make sense? So we go from the low to the high, pulling back the 50% retracement should find support. If the bar was big down, then we would find resistance at the halfway of the bar. So when like with MasterCard today, when I take a V1 or a V2, do you notice how I always say my stop is at the halfway of the washout bar, right? That's always my stop, because I know that any up bar should hold support from the low to the high. It should hold support at the 50%. And whether or not it's one bar or a group of bars or a cluster of bars or 100 days worth of bars, my stop on this trade that I took at 285.14 will be a close on Monday if it closes below halfway. Because if it closes below halfway of this move up bar, then the 50% support there was lost, and that's why I get out of the bar. I hope that makes sense, Zach. And, you know, of course, when I'm looking for something to show you, I can never find it. But I mean, look at the bar on Facebook. Look, here's a V1. This is a good example. Here's a beautiful V1 bullish engulfing bar on Facebook. Well, where is, from a Fibonacci standpoint, where should that hold support? It should hold support right there. It coming back down here should not concern you. It's just the normal retracement. But if it closed below halfway of that washout bar, it would concern me. If I look at Apple, okay, so I bought the calls here on Apple. It's a big bar up. Do you see how I have my stop at halfway, essentially halfway of this big bar? If it comes back down, I have to get out of my calls. Again, you have a big up bar. If it loses the 50% Fibonacci, that's where I'm going to get out. And let's see if I can find some other examples for you. Here's a big down bar. And I would expect if we rallied, we'd find resistance at the halfway bar. Well, it's roughly where it got before it failed. Anyway, I hope that helps. GM says 285, 290 if we get there. Well, we're getting pretty close on the S&P. Dan says, really cool about Steve's new book. Greg, maybe you and Steve can get together and do a short book about your option strategy. Would be a great supplement to the video. Thank you, Greg and Steve. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that suggestion for sure. Zach says, thank you. Interesting. GM, you'll know it. It'll fail 100%. Facebook will go back to the 165 area. Think so? It could. It definitely could. You know, Zach, if we're looking at the current move here between the low and the high, 50% of that would be about right here. So I wouldn't be surprised from a Fibonacci retracement if we do get back to like 178. If we lose 178, we might go back down to like 175, like GM says. So, good day today. Every trade was profitable, which that's really, really good. Adobe had a nice day today. Apple is cranking along. We'll see what happens with the overnight SPY trade. Never know about that one. And the MasterCard one got off to a good start so far. So, good for that. And Bing He is doing well in his TLT. Steve's doing really good on his double leverage Qs. Steve's doing good on his Nike. Facebook, boy, that one was looking ugly today, but it took off with that news. Twitter, Bob had a really nice day, over 3%. Nice going. Zach, I don't know if you're still there, but the reason I liked this trade that Bob took was we had a big up bar. We had a 520 crossover. Do you see how we came back yesterday, but we held the 50% of that bar? So the 50% Fibonacci did come into play, and I like that he he didn't chase the first move, but he waited for a retracement. He waited for a retracement to get in, had the 520 crossover, but it held the 50% support. So all he really did was he just got a little better price on it as long as it was still holding support. Right, Bob? If Bob's still there? Zach says, thanks for everything today. Bought DIN at 3062, got out of DIN at 3097, so that's nice. Fantastic. All right. So I have a lesson tonight with Kyle in South Africa. He's doing really well. He's cranking through the lessons. So he is early in the morning. So my lessons start at 9 p.m. tonight. He has to wake up at 5 in the morning on Saturday. That's dedication, to wake up at 5 a.m. for stock trading lessons, right? So I'm looking forward to that. And Kyle is doing really well. Zach says, thanks for taking the time to walk through that for me. Yeah, I always look at 50% Fibonacci numbers. I think they're really helpful. Check out Amazon. Bob says, I can't say that was my thinking, but yeah. Well, that's how I look at it. I don't know if you remember yesterday, but when you took that trade, I did like it. I didn't explain it in detail why I liked it. What was your thinking, Bob, on taking the trade, if you don't mind answering? People are going to look at things a whole different way. But what was your thinking when you bought it? Amazon looks like it may pull back before earnings. Well, yeah, I mean, it had the huge move up. Finally found some sellers up here, but also found some buyers. That's why we're moving sideways here. So yeah, sure, we could pull back, or we're just creating a higher range here and we could explode again to the upside. But that's probably going to depend on earnings, honestly, in the long run. But it wasn't up much today percentage wise. It didn't really participate in the rally that we had today. So you may be right, GM. It may pull back. I mean, if it can't go up on a big day, then it will probably go down more to the downside. But come earnings, then all bets are off. Bob says, I wanted a trade. Okay, fair enough. Honest. Fair enough. But that's how I looked at it. We had a 520 cross, always good, and then came down yesterday, but held 50% of the upward bar, held the 1 ATR channel, and beautiful trade today. $23.50, you think, huh? Well, it has support of the third ATR channel right here. Hard to get above that thing, but when you do, then you have good support. So what is that at? Yeah, $23.50. Yep, exactly. All right, everybody. Well, listen, thanks for coming today. I appreciate you spending your time. I hope you have a nice weekend, safe weekend. Please go out and try to do something nice for somebody today. Just maybe give them a call, check in on them, see how they're doing. They might really appreciate it, really might make their day. And so that's it. Just one quick reminder, if you did like today's podcast, I really would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button before you click out of here. That would be nice. And yeah, have a good weekend then. And I will see you on Monday during the last hour of the market, and we'll get into a new trading week, see how that goes. So hopefully that will do well for us. All right. You're welcome, Bing He. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.